We also have the chairperson of the National Council for Persons with Disability in the room, Madam Elizabeth. I can see Ashura Michael and Charles from ILO. Makofi. Thank you very much. I can see the CEO of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, Dr. Michael Munene. And then there's the board of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities in the house. I can see a very highly respected disability advocate and a pillar we truly respect in the sector, Dr. Samuel Kabue. Pigeni makofi. Thank you very much. May I request with humility that we be upstanding for those who are comfortable for the national anthem. Let's be upstanding for the national anthem.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu,
Thank you very much. We can be seated. Thank you very much. So the national anthem is a prayer, as well as the East African Community Anthem. I noticed who can sing the East African Community Anthem word for word. Yote. Sikuiti hapa. Tujifunze. Tujifunze wimbo wa jumuiya, sababu ni jumuiya ambayo tutajivunia. May I request that tusiongee sana. I can see Madam Chair, Madam Elizabeth, joining the team. Please come to the main pavilion, the main tent. The chairperson of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, Madam Elizabeth Chusan, just arriving. Thank you very much. Karibu sana. Thank you very much. She's coming from the holding room. The key pillar for the National Council as the chairperson. So may I request the team behind, Mr. Sana, so that then we can have one event. Allow me to request, as Madam Chair settles, pale ile timu inaongea, naomba msiongee ili tuwe na mkutano mmoja. Thank you, John Moneho. Good to see you. Board member, Kenyan Paraplegic Organization. Thank you very much. It's great to see you. All right. So we are hosted here by our truly valued friends and partner, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. And this has been a very good place for us and a very good host for us. So allow me with profound humility to request Professor Charles Ochieng Ongondo, MBS, Chief Executive Officer, to give us the welcome remarks. Okay. Anyone from the host? Okay. In this case, I understand the CEO, Mr. Ben P.I. Chilumo, you have a parliamentary sitting after this, so we want to move a bit fast. So allow me with humility then to request Mr. David Munyendo, who is the country director, Christian Blind Mission Kenya, and who's been very supportive to this very important cause. CBM is a very important partner to us, and there's so many of us here. If I tell you some of you who are actually taken to school by CBM through a sponsorship or a scholarship. So, wapi makofi ya CBM? So allow me to request that we appreciate Mr. David Munyendo as he speaks.
Our chief guest, who is the CEO of Huduma Center, all protocols observed. I want to sincerely appreciate all the organizers of this event, because in 2024 we were here in a similar forum, but in that year we were celebrating our 20 years of disability inclusion in Kenya. And during that session, we made some resolutions, and some of them we are happy that the government of Kenya has been able to offer, in particular the issue of the policy and the issue of the Disability Act. So I'm personally very happy and excited that today the policy has left the shelf, the policy has left the pages that we normally stamp and even sign against, that now is stepping into the people's lives. Behind every law, every strategy, and every commitment we discuss in conference halls, boardrooms, there is always a person listening through prayer and hope for better access, better dignity, opportunity, and care. So today's exhibition and service delivery is a testimony that it's possible to transition from an idea to a lifestyle. Thank you, our chief guest, for honoring our invitation. Our chief guest, every medical assessment and registration service unlocks an access, opportunity, and support to someone. Every assistive technology restores mobility, independence, dignity, and confidence. And every legal aid and government service enhances universal accessibility and lives to the mantra of leaving nobody behind. And equally, innovations break barriers where conventional approaches are proven ineffective. Ladies and gentlemen, it's evident that when government, civil society, and the private sector, as well as development partners, work together, we unlock opportunities and ensure everyone lives with dignity. To our service providers today and exhibitors, you have made us proud. Thank you for showing leadership through action. To our partners, you are our honorees. Thank you for investing not only resources, but trust and commitment. And to my colleagues, persons with disabilities, this space belongs to us. Our presence, voice, and leadership gives meaning to everything we do. As we experience exhibitions and service delivery, let us remember, inclusion is not a charity, but it's a right. Accessibility is not optional, it's essential. And disability is not a side conversation, but it's a core development paradigm. Therefore, it is my desire that as we take this experience from here, we also take up a personal challenge to make it work. In whatever space that you operate in, be it in our families, at the workspace, or anywhere, even in church, or even the mosque, let us make it work. We can do it better. Thank you. And so impressed our chief guest for honoring the invitation. Thank you.
Wapi makofi ya CBM? Wapigeni makofi CBM. Nikisema because of that, we clap. CBM has been very supportive to us, and because of that, CBM has been a great partner and sponsor for us and has taken so many of us to school, and because of that, and we truly love CBM as our valued partner, and because of that, so the theme of today is from policy to practice, co-creating an inclusive, prosperous society by reimagining care systems. And so we'll be hearing from a caregiver shortly, from the perspective of a caregiver shortly. But before I do that, I want to recognize the very valued partners who've supported this important conference. So allow me to start with Huduma Kenya, makofi ya kilo. The global
partnership are very key and important to us. We can't be able to do everything on our own. That's why Huduma Kenya is here CBM is here, UNDP is here, the council is here, other partners are here, because ni mukaribishe CEO wa Huduma Kenya aweze kuongea, alafu tutamruhusu aende, sisi tunabaki hapa, tutaendelea kuongea. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana CEO, National Council for Persons with Disability. I'm glad to speak on the Huduma Day for this dialogue. I'm told today is Huduma Day. Been given opportunity to speak as a chief guest, but not only that, I can see we are next to the Huduma stall here. So that as you get the Huduma today, you start with our stall, the Huduma Center. So let me first recognize our chair of the National Council of Persons with Disability, Madam Elizabeth Chesang, the CEO, my brother Dr. Michael Munene, the director of CBM, the representative from the UNDP, all other distinguished guests, the partners that are here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. Good morning. God is good, and all the time. Wow. Yes. Allow me to recognize the team that I've come with from Huduma Kenya. Let me start with the Huduma Center Manager for Makadara, where this institution is. Courtesy of this is actually Huduma Center Makadara that has come here. This lady here is the center manager. Her name is Sharon Nzao. Thank you very much, Sharon Nzao. Endelea kuhudumia wa Kenya. Also, we have, can you please stand up, the team from Huduma? Yes. We have the madam who ensures that there is quality in Huduma services. She is called Madam Mumbi. You may be seated. Then we have our wakili. She is called Beatrice. That's the wakili for Huduma. And finally, we have the person who is dealing with the partners in Huduma, including this National Council for Persons with Disability, Madam Waresha. That's the team that we've come with. My name is Ben Kai Chilumo, the CEO of Huduma Kenya. Huduma Kenya is a big institution that all of you know, and at least I know one day or another time or sometime in your life you've been assisted in Huduma. So we find a lot of pleasure to be recognized by the National Council of Persons with Disabilities and being invited here today to speak as the chief guest. Let me start by saying that wahenga tunawasikia wakisema kuwa disability is not inability. So I've always wondered, now what is disability? Then another muhenga comes to answer that. This other muhenga says disability is actually the disability is the person with a bad attitude. Bad attitude in a person is disability. So now we know that anytime, whenever your attitude is bad, then that's the disability. Ladies and gentlemen, it really gives me a lot of pleasure to join you today at the National Disability Dialogue of 2026. with a very wonderful theme, from policy to practice, co-creating an inclusive, prosperous society. This theme is not only inspiring to me, but I also feel it's very, very timely. And it's timely because I want to agree that there has been a lot of policies, but the implementation has been a bit low. I've just been discussing with the CEO today, where I was wondering if there has been a policy that sign language be a subject in our schools. But I always wonder how many schools today are having sign language as a compulsory subject. Because when you talk of inclusivity, then today we should not even be having someone interpreting there. Okay? We should be, whenever someone is addressing, like my sister here was addressing, we should have been here understanding every bit, because he is part of the society. So when I look at this theme today, I find it is not only inspiring, but very timely that we need to discuss the way forward as we want to come up with a society that is inclusive with our brothers and sisters that we have various disabilities. It definitely reminds us that policies are only as powerful as the inclusion must not only be spoken about, but it must be experienced in every sphere of our lives, in our classrooms, in our workplaces, in our service, partnerships and collaboration among government institutions, the private sector, development partners, civil society, and communities. They will remain critical in ensuring behind. Through our collective effort and a shared commitment, we can create an enabling environment where every Kenyan, including persons with disabilities, development, as envisioned in our Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya, which upholds the national values and principles of governance, including the vision. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to commend the National Council for Persons with Disabilities and its partners for convening this important national disability dialogue and for their this platform continues to strengthen partnerships, promote accountability, and accelerate the realization of an inclusive society where no one is left here. We remain firmly committed to embedding disability inclusion across all our service delivery. In our 59 Huduma centers nationwide, our Huduma Contact and Telecounseling Center, during our Huduma Mashinani, and even in policy. In practical terms, we have actually enhanced accessibility and dignity in our centers through a range of deliberate customer service charters are available in Braille for those with a vision challenges. Our website is fully disability accessible, and all our service counters are intentionally designed to accommodate persons with disabilities. I remember the other day when we are setting up a Huduma and we looked at our standards and we told the contractor, no, you have to reduce the height of this service counter to a place where people with wheelchairs will come here and they can access that we take care of the persons with a disability. Our service counter is intentionally designed to accommodate persons with disabilities. Sign language interpreters in our 21 Huduma centers. The rest of the other Huduma centers, at least we ensure there is someone who can support, who is working there. We are trying to ensure that at least 2 people in our Huduma centers are trained on sign languages, so that we do not leave out any person behind in terms of are equally purposefully fitted to be disability friendly, and ensuring that every citizen is served with dignity, respect, and convenience, because that is our motto in our Huduma Kenya. We talk of the Huduma DNA, that we inject all our staff serving in Huduma centers. That's why when you get there, you always say the services in Huduma are excellent, because that DNA is about customer service excellence. In addition, all Huduma centers prioritize vulnerable citizens, including persons with disabilities, the elderly, the expectant mothers, and mothers with young children below the age of 2, and ensuring they receive priority, expedited, and dignified service. These milestones have been made possible through strong partnerships and collaboration with key stakeholders who continue to support us and have been instrumental in strengthening our capacity to deliver inclusive citizen-centered services across the country, including the National Council for Persons with Disabilities. I also take this opportunity to commend the Council for the sensitization sessions conducted for Huduma Kenya staff on disability mainstreaming, which have greatly enhanced awareness and alertness and strengthened our commitment to inclusive service delivery. Mabibi na mabwana, as we plan to work towards a truly inclusive Kenya, we must embrace the 5R framework in addressing both unpaid and paid care work with our care economy. This international recognized approach, reflected in Kenya National Care Policy and broader commitments to gender equality and social protection, challenges us to recognize, to reduce, to redistribute, to reward, and to represent care work in a way that is fair, dignified, and sustainable for all Kenyans. At the same time, Kenya must continue to harness power of technology as a key driver of inclusion and service transformation. Assistive technologies and digital accessibility are not just a mere enhancements. They are critical enablers that expand access to education, open up employment opportunities, and promote independent living, especially for persons with disabilities and other vulnerable groups across our counties. Ladies and gentlemen, let us remain intentional in building a society that reflects Kenya's constitutional promise of equality and inclusion. Really, progress is evident where schools mainstream inclusive education, where our TVETs and training institutions needs, and when respond to the diverse needs, and when employers, both the public and the private, create fair, meaningful pathways and opportunities into decent work for all Kenyans. We want to see a situation where persons with disabilities are included even in our workplace. As many as we see them in the streets and our homes, we want to see them also in workplaces. This can only happen when we are intentional about this, and we have policies that support these brothers and sisters of ours, so that when we give them work, they can deliver like any other person. It is possible if we are intentional about this. Ladies and gentlemen, this reality challenges us to go beyond compliance and deliberately create opportunities that advance representation, equity, and inclusion across our institutions. True transformation will only be realized when every employer, every institution, and every community embrace inclusion, not as a legal obligation, but as a shared responsibility, a DNA for Kenyans, and a core value for our society. The message from the dialogue is therefore clear. Inclusion is not charity, it is justice. It is not only a policy for inspiration, but a daily practice that must be reflected in our decisions, in our systems, and in our daily interactions. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, let me borrow from the words of Desmond Tutu, who said, "Do your little bit of good where you are." It is in these consistent, intentional acts, however small they may seem, that really change is built. When each of us plays our part, those collective efforts come together to transform our society and shape a more inclusive and compassionate future for all of us, disability notwithstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank you very much. Allow me to commit that as Huduma Kenya will continue to be inclusive in our service delivery, and will continue ensuring that we serve Kenyans with the DNA of the customer service excellence that we've continued to do. Asanteni sana, may God bless you, and may God bless Kenya.
Unaweza piga dance kidogo bwana? Sio, unaweza piga dance kidogo kidogo tukianza huduma kidogo. Twende chini, twende chini, twende chini. Sio, twende chini. Twende chini. Twende kidogo, twende kidogo. Tuone sio. Hey. Wapi makofi ya sio? Thank you very much. May I request the CEO of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, UNDP, a very valued partner of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities. By this conference, main partners, CBM and UNDP, as well as the National Council for Persons with Disabilities. Wapi makofi ya UNDP? So please, let me get this podium out of here, because there's something we want to do here as we launch this officially. Let me get this podium out of here. Kiongozi, naomba unisaidie kutoa hii podium hapa. Kidogo, there's something we want to do here, so that then tusaidie kubeba nini podium hii. Okay. KBC, you can get this on? Yes. You can get this on? Yes. So what we want to do, yes, we want to, yes. Yes, we want to flag off. That's what we want to do. So what we are doing is that we are getting the banners ready, so that then we get the flag. So may I request the partners, all of the partners to join us, because we want to flag with a good background over here. May I request that we actually come here, over here. CEO, National Council. CEO, National Council. Yes. Samuel Kabui. Dr. Sylvia Muchabo. Sylvia, yes. All right. What we want to do very shortly is to officially flag off, start the conference officially. And here we have the flag. Na tukiflag tupige makofi ya kilo. Ya kilo kwa sababu after this tutakunywa chai, kwa hivyo tuache space kubwa ya chai kwenye itaingia. Wapi makofi ya kilo? Hiyo ni rehearsal. Okay. So you can give the chief guest the flag as he flags off very shortly. Acha nipige rehearsal. All right. And now flagging off the conference, the National Disability Dialogue 2026, officially flagged off by the chief guest. Well done. Wapi makofi. Wapi makofi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Twende kazi, twende kazi, twende kazi. Wewe kidogo. You can be up standing up kidogo. Nimekuja kusema twende hivi.
Asante kwa wema wako na fadhili zako Baba.
Amkeni. Tonke kidogo.
Mimi nimekuja kusema asante.
Nimekuja kusema asante. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you can be seated and make some few announcements. I can make some few announcements right now because of the next session that is starting very shortly. Very few announcements that I'm making. One, we are breaking for what is called Huduma. So we are going to the sessions. We are going to the Huduma sessions. Various organizations are providing services today. So we'll be breaking for that. Number two, for UNDP, their conference and their engagement and the services start now. So in Simba Hall, you'll be finding UNDP. UNDP will be in Simba Hall. When you go to Huduma, of course, there's ID replacement, birth certificate, share registration, legal advice with judiciary, counseling services, general inquiries about government services. Also, what is also important is that work was mentioned. We need jobs for persons with disabilities. Tuseme kazi. Tunataka kazi. Nani nataka kazi? There's a big conference coming with the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, as well as Riziki Source in October 29th to 30th. The Disability Employment Summit is coming up later in the year. So for those interested in labor and work issues for persons with disabilities, that is coming up later in the year. Then number two, we will be breaking for tea on this left direction. Tea is ready. So before you start the sessions to go for Huduma sessions, please make sure you take some tea. Food security is important. So many food security. Yes. So we'll be breaking for tea. And remember, UNDP is at Simba Hall. And the UNDP session is starting shortly. So please remember, as you visit these exhibitions here, don't forget to go to Simba where UNDP is participating. So let's appreciate UNDP in a very special way. Let's also remember, I can see Japit has something else to say. No? Let's also remember the other partners like Riziki Source, Gifted Community Center. I can see Fayel in the room. Kai. We have Gifted Community Center, we have Riziki Source, we have UNDP, we have the other partners. Sorry, it's a long list. It's a long list. It's a long list. Let me recognize the partners. We have APDK, Catholic Relief Services, Global Disability Fund, KCB, UDPK, Kenya Institute of Special Education, Nairobi Association of the Deaf. And this team is working closely. Abdi, I can see Abdi there. This team is working closely with KRA. Remember to visit KRA session, not far from the tea place, so that you can learn about tax. So, allow me to request that now we can break for tea. DJ. Thank you very much.